That he was put in the Hall of Fame, I actually called him and told him that I would do his introduction speech because of our history and basically how I got involved with racquetball, was sort of exposed to racquetball, and who my real first hero in racquetball really was, and it was Charlie Brumfield. And another thing too I want to acknowledge too is all the players are a lot of the players and a lot of his friends from the 70s who've come out. Ed, Mark Sessom, friends that were there in the 70s to see Charlie play. But going back to Charlie Brumfield as the indoor player, everybody knows how great he was as an indoor player. But when Charlie first came out to play, I believe in '74 in the outdoor, and tried it, Charlie was actually the indoor player who actually sort of exposed the outdoor game to a number of us that played indoor. We never would have come out to outdoor had it not been for Charlie, who was about promoting the sport of racquetball. And that's the thing that today and in the past it always has to be the first and foremost thing of all the professionals. It's to support and promote the game indoor and outdoor equally, because in my opinion the outdoor game now is just it's the best sport. It's the best sport in racquetball. Absolutely, no question. And because of you, because of the players and stuff. Great sport. Let me tell you a little bit about Charlie Brumfield.
Oh, here we go.
And here we go. There's a lot of stories, a lot of history. And you know, and when I was talking to Charlie earlier, Charlie was the one who sort of swung the door open for racquetball to be exposed, for people outside of racquetball to find out about racquetball. Charlie, without question, was the greatest competitor I ever competed against, the greatest teacher of the sport, and the greatest promoter of this that the sport has ever had. And he was a player that, and I could still remember it like it was yesterday when Brumfield and Steve Keeley and Steve Strandemo came to town, and there was no video or anything. We just had the magazine. But when those guys came to St. Louis and we saw them for the first time, I mean, they were actually bigger than life. These guys were, I mean, I just can't tell you what kind of superstars they were to us junior players. And also what incredible role models, and how much they sort of took all the players, all the sport, the whole sport, and engaged people into playing and learning the sport. And then the rest really about Charlie Brumfield and his career is really history. There's a book that has just been completed that I mean, I don't know, Hank, if did those books ever show up? Every player got a book about the Charlie Brumfield story, and I would really tell you, as soon as you start reading it, you won't be able to put it down. It just chronicles a real special time in the sport. A couple of things I want you to know about Charlie, as far as his dedication and how serious he took the sport of racquetball. Of all the people I've ever competed against, and I've been sort of lucky that I've been around from the early 70s to now, and I've seen a lot of great players and great champions come. But there's never been anybody who was more of a competitor about being the best at a sport than Charlie Brumfield was. And I guess what the thing that really exemplifies Charlie Brumfield is what Vince Lombardi once said. He said, winning isn't a sometimes thing. Winning is an all-times thing. And really, I just can't tell you just how much racquetball and being the best consumed him. I mean, it wasn't the 8 or 10 hours a day down in San Diego training, but it was actually the time away. And Charlie, and this is sort of the funny thing about it, when I was coming up, Charlie, half of his game was to like get into your head and to psych you out and to talk to you and to get you to think about things. And I was so young that everything he was trying to work on me flew over my head that I really didn't even understand what he was trying to do. I mean, he was just so far above just everyone else as far as how serious he took being the best player at our sport. And then as far as a teacher goes, Charlie Brumfield is really sort of created me. And how he created me is because Charlie always put the sport in front of himself. It was always about what was best for racquetball. And that's what he instilled with the indoor players. The indoor players, he said, you know, we have to go to the outdoor game. We have to play it. It's a great summer game. It's a game that, you know, potentially could be huge. And then I remember coming back out from 74 to like 77 through 79, and I just said to Charlie that we were over, I believe, at Golden West, and there was like 2,000 people that would be watching and stuff. It was incredible. It was fantastic. But anyways, just to sort of, to conclude, once I bring him up here, I want you to know that there's something that's going to happen here that will never happen again in racquetball. Charlie Brumfield is a Hall of Famer in the outdoor game. He's a Hall of Famer in the indoor game. And he will be shortly in the future a Hall of Famer in paddleball. And there will never be another rackets athlete that will ever hold all those titles. Which in my opinion, he is the greatest racquetball player ever. And there is no question about it. And I've seen them all. So Charlie, come on out.